Hey, Dom.
Hiya,
Hmm.
how are you? Just listening to I don't know if you probably hear it in a minute. It's the King's birthday today. It's like they're flying over London, the military plane. They're doing like a military
Yeah,
plane flyover thing. King of
right, yeah.
Australia as well.
We had the King's birthday on Monday.
Oh right.
It was a long weekend.
Oh, okay. Get a bank holiday. Hmm.
Yeah, what's today? Saturday. Yeah, so it was almost a
Saturday,
week
yeah.
ago. Yeah, 5 days ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, it's not her actual birthday. You would know that, I imagine. But
Yeah, yeah. It's just the official, isn't it?
yeah, crazy stuff. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I've never been big on the Royals, to be honest. But anyway, that's another story.
Yeah. I mean, it always for me, it kind of I have these imaginings that that's how things used to be. You know, the
Yeah,
feudal system
yeah,
kind of thing that
yeah.
they owned whole villages and all of the peasants there worked for them and so on and so on. Yeah, and it's not really much different now, except that the people that own everything just wear different clothes. That's all. Pretty much the
Mm.
same thing. They're mostly tech moguls these days.
I saw that Elon has
Yeah.
become a trillionaire as
Yeah.
of yesterday.
The richest man in the world. Yeah, I'd love to
Trillionaire,
know. Yeah,
that is that's 1,000 billion.
it's impossible to get your mind around, isn't it? You think, well, shouldn't you be able to do a lot of good if you had that much money?
You'd have thought so. Yes, he
Mm.
thinks he is, because he sort of seems to have this mission to kind of, well, I mean, decoding what, tell anything, can you? And, I think he's a prat, but, you know, he seems to have this idea that we need to set up an escape route out from uh and that seems to be his sort of one of his motivations
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah,
So maybe he thinks that is doing
yeah.
service
Well, of
to
course,
mankind.
presumably he does. Yeah, 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 yeah. Maybe he obviously thinks that we're unsavable and that of course, it'll only be the rich that can go to Mars, even if that works. But anyway. Yeah, who knows? It's interesting stuff.
Mm.
Yeah. So how's life been for you?
Yeah, good. I always feel a bit like sometimes when I get on these sessions, I'm a bit, if I'm feeling quite sort of relaxed and good, for want of a better word, I kind of feel like I haven't got anything to say much. Um, I was chatting away to your bot this morning. Um, yeah, there was this. Yeah, I liked the story that you. There was a story actually that you posted. I think it was yesterday, which was about having faith in your own, sort of doubting
Yeah,
yourself. Essentially, there was stuff around that, um, and I was just sort of having a conversation with the bot, which was to do with a recovery, 12-step recovery, and kind of. the feeling that you need to kind of keep, you know, and just working out what is actually just healthy connection and healthy systems that help you sort of, in a way, a lot of the most valuable, well, one of the valuable parts of recovery was that sort of first way of examining thoughts and stories and through inventory, um, and just sort of deciding what is being held on to because it's just sort of some idea that it's letting go would sort of um, result in some scary outcome,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
or
yeah,
or what is just good, healthy, you know,
yeah, yeah.
stuff.
I get it. I get it. Yeah. And of course, a lot of that stuff is told to you by the culture of whatever it is you're doing. So they develop techniques as a way of you achieving something. But generally speaking, they want to give you the feeling that you're strong and capable of control and that you can. So let me ask you this. Do you feel that you've got to maintain a grip on something metaphorically in order to not get back into alcohol? Have you got to actively keep it at bay?
I suppose, using sort of, let's just say culture, what the culture describes as how it works, is you'd say that you're powerless over addiction, so you can't apply personal will, as they call it, or to trying to stop addiction, because obviously
Mm,
everyone's tried
mm.
that and it didn't work. So you don't have any power there. But Bill Wilson, he's a really interesting guy. I think he got a lot of things right, but he also talks about what he calls the proper use of the will, which is using your will to engage in like recovery activities. Like doing service or going to meetings or prayer and meditation, and so on. So in his sort of framing of it, you don't have the power to choose not to be you can't control the addiction through your
Yeah.
will and through your power, but you can decide to apply yourself to the program, which is quite an interesting kind of distinction.
Mm.
Whereas here, I guess we would dispute that second part. Um,
Yeah, well, I'm not concerned about that now. What I'm asking you is, do you feel that you are exerting some kind of influence in order to stay sober? I mean, that old first saying, "G'day, my name is," and I'm an alcoholic, right?
mm,
Doesn't matter how long since I had my last drink, I'm an alcoholic.
mm, yeah.
Well, that's pretty big time identification stuff, isn't it?
Yes. Um, I mean, I suppose the idea is that, which I think the idea is that whatever's sort of underlying the sort of addictive tendencies isn't cured, by going through the program. It's kind of,
Okay, so it's a
and
management program.
yeah, it's a management program whereby,
Mm.
I guess, in our terms, you'd say that our conditioning is leading us to towards certain behaviors, but there's a way of sort of preventing that. But that sort
Yeah,
of pull towards doing those behaviors doesn't just disappear because which I think chimes as makes sense in a way because it's like the conditioning behind it doesn't just go away because you're in a program.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I'm going to hound you till I get an answer to my question. Do you feel like you're exerting any kind of effort towards influence at a level that uses energy in order to stay sober? Can you forget about can you forget this identification of being an alcoholic or that whatever? Well, I'm not saying we take no notice of the proclivities and so on, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, do you get around and have thoughts during the day that you've got to not get in the
No,
situation?
no,
No?
no. I mean, I don't. It's a little bit hard to sort of tease out exactly. I mean, I've been around a long time, so it's been 18 years since I've got into
Hmm.
recovery. So
So presumably
I
you don't
don't.
even think about it a lot of the time.
Yeah, most of the time it's just not.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I go to meetings and I do my service and I sponsor people and all of that kind of thing. So I'm thinking about it in those contexts just because that's what's being talked about or whatever.
Mm.
But walking around, I'm not sort of going on and having to remind myself
Yeah.
or kind of
Yeah, good.
do
Yeah.
anything, like that. Not at all.
So
But
can you identify can oh, that was a bad unintentional pun. All right, can you recognize adopting a particular identity when you go to those meetings and have anything to do with service of that?
yes, I do. I mean, I think that the label alcoholic or whatever label you're using, depending on whatever fellowship you might be in, is definitely a kind of provisional thing. Um, it's a useful way of, signaling to the other people there something. Um, yeah. Um, in terms of like effort, I mean, there's apparent effort. I don't know. I feel like it's a bit like exercise. I exercise, and sometimes it feels like I have to make an effort to go to the gym or whatever. It's a bit like that. You know, ultimately, if I chase back down the chain of thoughts or so-called decisions, I'm not going to find. I don't know how I decided to do any of it.
Mm, mm.
It is just happening, but it also feels like effort sometimes. And I guess there's a bit of a similarity between the two. It's like sometimes I feel like I have to make an effort
Yeah,
in recovery,
yeah, yeah. So it occurs to me that there's a an opportunity. It's like a hidden doorway that just became apparent in that there's a possible portal there to just observe So let me backtrack a little bit. So i- if we're putting extra effort in, it's like, well, that's what we do when we come to a hill and we've got to climb over it. We just have to go down a gear and put a bit of extra effort into it to get over it. But in order to what triggers the need to do that is resistance, whether it's resistance of
Mm,
gravity
mm,
when we're going up a hill or
yeah.
resistance to anything. And so it'd be interesting to consider the possibility of resistance.
Mm,
I mean, not don't we definitely don't need to get into a place where we can have a narrative about it because we're up in the head when we do that anyway. Essentially, it's the experience of contraction somewhere that you're
yeah.
looking for, and
Mm,
you don't need an explanation or a description or a title or anything like that. No labels required. It's just an experience that you know is pushing a bit. So,
mm.
yeah. But it's subtle stuff as well. It's not big stuff. Yeah, it's just me presuming that you look forward to more. However you want to put it, whatever extra can come along. Jay.
Hi, Vince. I also have some sort of obsessions, or not. No, I wouldn't categorize it as addictions, but obsessions. I want to do it, but I wish I was not doing it, or I should not be doing it. Some ethical and cultural rules, and the feeling that what I'm doing is wrong, and I might get caught, and so I found this opposing forces. So when you said resistance, that came to my mind, and a lot of fear around it, and a lot of thinking as well. Like Dom said, he doesn't think about it, but I think about it. A lot of thoughts come up about it. I'm fearful about those thoughts that come up. Oh my God, what will happen, and how do I stop? And so trying to control it and not being able to control it, wanting it but believing that I should not be doing it, um, that kind of situations. And I also noticed these contractions that you mentioned, deep in the belly and in the chest, and so I feel it's becoming a bit loose, in the sense not taking it too seriously, and that seems to be opening up a bit more safety and less guilt around it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting one, that guilt thing, yeah. And when you investigate it a little bit, it kind of falls apart pretty quickly. Okay, so in order to be guilty of anything, you have to have done something that was wrong, bad, whatever, something to feel guilty about. You're not going to feel guilty about some good outcome. It's got to be a bad outcome to feel guilty. And there's the assumption that you could have chosen not to do it. Well, that one doesn't hold water either, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's wanting to control what might happen and
Yeah,
hanging on to what happened before, and just
yeah.
story going
Well,
on.
it occurs to me that here's an opportunity for you to really enjoy the fictional stories that your mind comes up with about what could possibly happen. It's going to come up with some beauties, and you can say to it, no, get more outlandish. Give me a better story than that. And it'll do it. It'll do it. It's amazing, you know. What I'm trying to say is we don't need to stop them. We don't, they're not our enemy. So see if you can link this to what we just said. You can't possibly do anything wrong. Things that appear to be wrong are not wrong. They're not right. They're not good. They're not bad. They are just what they are. That's a tricky one, but it's huge. If you can take away the unspoken stories that give meaning to things, you're left with just the experience. And an experience is just an experience. We have to add a story to it to make it right or wrong, good or bad. We have to add labels to it in any which way to find a perspective that gives us meaning about it. Whereas if we are just experiencing the actual sensory stimulation that it is, it's a different kind of experience. It's much cleaner and it doesn't spiral us off into those stories about what could happen. But see, when we do have those stories there, it's kind of exciting. We can feel alive because we've got this, we're having a stress experience, but it makes us feel alive. It can feel good. It's certainly something to watch out for. But it is just what it is. We don't actually know what it is. We can only know what our interpretation of it is. So we can't stand up and categorically say, this is it, this is real. All we can say is, this is what I see, this is what I'm experiencing as a result of it. Can't say anything more than that. And that's enough. That's a big one. But it frees things up amazingly. So if you can't do anything wrong and you have these stories that say, oh, we can get into trouble here or something, how do you relate to them? You can't stop them. They happen, don't they?
Mhm.
But you can have a relationship with them where you are absolutely obedient, or you run off in a panic in response to it, or you go, hmm, that's interesting. There's a story about that. I wonder. And then we're not lost in the content of the story. So we don't try and stop the stories. We can't have a wrong story. Everything it turns up for us is potentially beneficial. Everything, even the stuff that looks unpleasant, feels unpleasant, that looks not good, there's still opportunity in that somewhere, always. So you think, I mean, this excites me. If a particular story turns up, there there must be something behind it. I wonder what it could be. I wonder why that particular story turned up and not a million others it could have been. But it was that one. And I'm kind of so busy going, I wonder why that one turned up to get involved in what it was about. I'm acknowledging what it was about when I'm saying that one. Why did that one turn up? But I'm not lost in it. I'm objectively looking at it from the outside, so to speak. And I frequently don't get answers as to why that one turned up, but it's still interesting. I wonder why. So we still have the same end result in mind, and that is that we don't want to get carried away in negative emotions by responding to the response to a story somewhere down the line. We we want to be smarter than that. But we also know, and in our experience, that if we attack it head on, we just make it dig its heels in and get stronger. So we've got to be a bit smart about the way we go about it. So with for example stories of guilt, we're not talking about anything that ever actually happened. We're talking about the meaning that was overlaid on some event or multiple events, very likely multiple events, but still, it's it's what that means, the story about what it means that we're responding to, and that we lock up in ourself, that we ingest almost physically and hold on to it for years and years and years, and it never evolves because it's encapsulated. And so if it occurred to us around the time when we were 4 or 5 years old, it's still the same in us now. It doesn't grow with us. It doesn't get older when we get older. We just develop more sophisticated ways of avoiding it. And some of the most effective ways are with stories that turn up. Like that they can, even if they're bad, they can keep us away from the really, really bad stuff. So, that's an interesting one. Anyway, I'm talking too much. So tell me, how did that stuff relate to you, Jayan? Did that
Yeah,
make any
yeah,
sense?
yes, it makes sense. It does. Specifically, the meaning part of it. I notice how I assign meaning to these happenings, including taking it very seriously and being
Yeah,
wound up around it. And
yeah, sure. Yeah.
that seems to intensify it rather than taking it lightly,
Mm,
taking it personal, as though there is control and there is someone doing it and stuff like that. Even this meeting, attending this meeting, I mean, produces a lot of anxiety, and there is no logical reason for it. It's a very pleasant meeting in that sense.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But still, it happens. Yeah,
Yes, so it is.
yeah. So isn't that interesting? Don't you find that really interesting? I am so curious about that. You froze up for a moment. Yeah. Did you get what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
find that
yeah, yes.
incredibly interesting. Wow, isn't that amazing? That happens like that.
Yeah, I looked at it. It doesn't make any sense to be anxious or afraid, but it still happens.
Yeah. That's curious, isn't it? Aren't you curious about it?
Yes.
Yeah. We don't expect an answer, but by golly, I like being curious. It feels good. Yeah. So although we're not specifically looking for an answer, the flavor of an answer gets a bit intriguing, you know. And so you can say maybe something along the lines of you see yourself as an anxious person under certain circumstances. And this meeting could be one of those circumstances. Public speaking may be involved. Hmm. Sorry, my computer keeps freezing up for a moment, but I've given up trying to fix it. I'll just put up with it. Hmm. So if it's not possible that for anything to be wrong, then also everything. I lost it. It'll come back to me, maybe.
It's the story again. Like it's the fear of consequences. It's going far ahead and say what will happen if this
Yes,
situation arises. And I see it as thoughts and sensations, but still it feels so real.
yes, yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
That it feels so real. Yeah, that's
Something
really,
something is
yeah,
threatened. It feels like something is threatened, but what is it?
yeah. You don't need an answer. So I'm trying to convey something to you that is really an attitude.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, and that no matter what turns up, it's trying to tell you something if you can see it. And if you get lost in what it's about, you're not going to get the message of what it's trying to tell you. But what it's trying to tell you probably can't be very well dealt with in words. So it's kind of what comes to mind is a pheromone message, you know, like how bees might communicate with each other with pheromones, and that there is an interpretation that can't be defined with words. It's just that, you know. I know what I was going to say. So if there's no right or wrong, and do you get it when I say that there's no right or wrong is just a cultural story that's overlaid on things, right? So if there's no right or wrong, there's nothing to resist. This is a really big one. If everything comes with a positive flavor, there's absolutely nothing we don't want to be here. So if it's a wild, crazy story and it feels very real, you've got to go, wow, how does that happen?
Mm.
Isn't it interesting that it feels so real? And then, as you might repeat that quite a few times, but as you get more familiar with that feeling of how real it is, it'll start to show its parts. You'll start to see what what got put together for that to feel so real. See, so that you can see even when I say that feels so real, right? If we look at that sentence and relate it back to what we might be pointing to with a sentence like that, immediately it all falls apart. What is the that we're referring to? And does it actually feel real? Or is the feeling just a feeling and the real part something we add on to it?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then what is real anyway?
Yes.
Real? I don't know what real is. I don't know anything about what real is. I just got my own wild stories about everything. So I've got no idea what's actually out there. I can't. I haven't got the human faculties I've been given, the five senses and the brain. They don't add up to enough to work with what is the absolute, what is actually out there. All I can do is interpret. So I've got no idea what's real, but I know what you mean when you say it feels so real. I get that.
Yeah. That came to my mind as well. Like, um, I want to attend this meeting, and um, is it really the way I think about it? Is this meeting really a meeting? What exactly is it? And
That's a
I
good
didn't
one.
have an answer to it.
Mm, yeah. Mm. How are you, Kate? Beaming as usual.
I'm good. Yeah. I'm having party this evening on my deck, having some neighbors over. So I have a whole bunch of stuff to do, but I wanted to see you first. I thought, well, if I don't get around to vacuuming, fuck it. That's kind of
Yeah.
my fuck it. And it's hot. It's like, well, it feels hot to me. Some people love this soupy, sticky weather. I am not a big fan of it. So, and I can't vacuum and have my air conditioner on at the same time because the electricity goes. At least I have a panel now because when I moved in here, it would blow a fuse and I'd have to run downstairs to the convenience store to buy a fuse. And so yeah, that's my day. I'm itchy because I was picking wildflowers yesterday and I didn't take a shower. Look, I'll show you what I've been doing lately. This is my this is my new favorite way to make myself. This is what I've been doing lately. It's just making little vases full of wildflowers. This is my
Mm.
treat. So, yeah, things are good. And I haven't gotten around to reading your latest emails, but I'm very excited to do that.
Right.
Uh, yeah. Yeah, but I love what you're talking about, that it feels so real. My self-righteousness sometimes feels so real and my need to make things better, right, all that stuff. And sometimes I make a complete fool out of myself by demanding that things be different. And and then I've turned around and apologized. Oh well, at least I'm laughing at myself now when I do that instead of spending time moping and feeling sorry for myself and saying, well, I really was right, but I had to apologize because they're assholes. So, that's changed a little bit for me. And that's been nice. But yeah, it's just, I can't tell you how much fun it is not working. Like, not having a boss and who's telling me what to do. And my yeah, I went to the best physio lady that the workman's comp sent me to because of my back injury. And she's like, I want you to go to physio twice a week, not just once a week. And I love that. I mean, this is all I wanted, was just to, be able to work out on my body and enjoy myself and take care of my 150 or something plants that are in my house and my garden, and have a summer off and enjoy myself. And that's what I'm doing.
Right.
Oh, yeah, it's been absolutely. And I kind of don't know what's happening. I just know that every morning I wake up and I'm cheerful. And that has not been my life for much of it, but it is my life now, and I'm so grateful and
Right.
cheerful about that. Like, because nothing's nothing's as important as it was, a few years ago or even a year ago. I mean, I had some things that were really important and that needed to be, dealt with, fixed in me and in the world and with other people. And now it's like I don't really have the energy. There's a ball game on, or I got to water, or I'll have
Mm.
friends over, make some food, and we'll enjoy ourselves for a couple hours. So yeah, I'm good, Vince.
Stuff.
And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I loved your song. I did listen to the song this morning, and that kind of describes exactly. I spent so many years going from this self-help, this version, this spiritual practice, that spiritual practice, just trying so hard to make me better because there was something wrong with me. There was always something wrong with me. And what was wrong was I was hurt and I didn't admit that I was hurting. That's all I had to do. But it took me 69, 70 years to learn to be nice to myself. So that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
I'm being nice now. That's all I've got
Yep.
is right now.
Yep.
Yeah. So thank you. You're a big part of that, as you know.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, no complaints.
Mm.
But I do hope it rains tomorrow on the WW, whatever it is, in front of the White House.
Oh, okay. Are they having something outside, are they?
Yeah, yeah, the president, he's celebrating the 4th of July on June 14th. He's celebrating America's 250th year of independence on his birthday rather than on the 4th of July by
Mm.
having a bunch of those, those wrestlers who, are all muscly and dress up in silly little costumes and pretend
Yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And there's
Oh, yeah,
like,
it'd be good if it rained on them. Yeah, yeah.
oh yeah, there's porta potties everywhere, and it's gonna be super hot and humid. And now the other problem is there's bugs. There's so many bugs everywhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's gonna be a shit show. That's I mean, literal shit show. So yeah, I'm kind of excited. I won't watch it because there's flowers to look at, but I'll definitely enjoy reading the news. Maybe that's a little petty of me, but I don't care. I don't care if it's petty. I
Yeah.
love it. So we'll see. We'll see. So, yeah. And you're inside, Vince. That's
Yep.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got the use of the downstairs flat while my
Nice.
kids are overseas doing their walking trip, and we're
Where are they walking? Are they doing the trail in Spain or where are they?
they've done the Camino already. That no, they're walking. I think it's a 1,200 kilometer track in Romania.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
they're adventurous. Yeah.
No kidding. No kidding.
It's going to take them. I think that they walked 26.5 kilometers yesterday. So they're
Right.
kind of doing around about 30 kilometers every day
Yeah.
to get the walk in.
And they're carrying all their stuff or are they sending it
Yeah,
ahead? They carry
no,
all their stuff
no, they're carrying it. Yeah.
for them. Yeah. Good for them. That's amazing. That's amazing. I've met a lot of people who've done it. And I've met a lot of people who have done the three in the United States, right? The West Coast, the East Coast, and then the Rocky Mountain Trail. And those were pretty intense. Yeah, pretty pretty intense. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They haven't done in America, but nobody wants to go to America at the moment.
No,
So yeah, it's a
I
shame.
know.
Beautiful country.
Yes, yes, but
Yeah.
it's not very safe right now. I mean, yeah,
Mm.
I'm glad I got out 23, 4 years ago, whatever it was. Yeah, I feel much safer where I am. A little too close, but still safer.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, so you're taking care of their place.
No, no, this is our place, but
Oh,
they were just our renter. finished up and left, and coincidentally, our son and his wife needed a place to stay. They've got a house not far from us that they had renters in, and they were the renters from hell. So they caused a lot of repair work required when they moved out and just left the house full of rubbish, and it's been a big deal. So they've been staying here while they're fixing that house up ready for the next tenants. And
Okay.
it's done now. We're just waiting for someone to come along to rent it. Yeah. And when they come back, they'll take their cats and go to another house that they've got. So then we'll rent this out again, and I'll be back in the car then. Mm.
Well, okay. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's nice.
I don't mind the car though. I quite like it. Yeah.
I know. I mean, obviously, because you do it 4 times a week, most days, most weeks. Yeah. Well, I've been talking to Todd and Pernilla, and he was thinking about renting their place, but then you know they're going to move to Spain, and they're going to have a house in New York, and they have to hire a management company. And what happens, if something happens to the roof or the tenants trash the place, like what? No. So they're gonna sell it. So yeah, yeah, they got a lot going on. So yeah, yeah. Well, well, do you hear from them at all? Do they have like cell phone service occasionally? No.
No, no, we never get together. We do occasionally exchange a message or two, but haven't for a while.
Yeah,
Mm. Yeah, they're pretty busy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of walking. Yeah. Okay.
I read their newsletter today, and it seemed like they're having a lot of fun in Valencia.
Yeah, yeah, they had, yeah. I mean, it was funny because they said everything they tried to do in Denmark, every door they knocked on just wouldn't open or got slammed in their face. And they went to Spain, and like come on in. Yes, yes, it's easy, it's no problem. I mean, the thing Todd is most worried about is he can't just transfer his driver's license. He has to start all over like a little kid, take the written test and then do stage one and then do stage two and then do stage three. But I mean, that's the biggest problem. And Denmark was impossible and very expensive to do anything. So if it's too hot and they want cold weather, they can just go visit Pernilla's family in Denmark and get cold and wet and then back to
Mm.
sunny Valencia. Yeah, I'm really happy for them. I'm very happy for them.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, look, I don't think it would matter where they end up. They'll make something good out of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and I mean, I just think it's fascinating that Todd has only ever lived in one house in his entire life. Like, I can't imagine.
Mm.
I just like that's astonishing to me. Yes, yeah, yeah. We're all so different, and I just love hearing about what people do with their lives and
Yeah, it's
what
interesting,
happens,
isn't it?
how they respond. It's like, wow, wow. And then we all end up here. Yeah, pretty cool.
Mm. Oh, did I didn't send you the Ash stories, did I?
The witch stories?
Ash?
You're not telling about the gate stories.
Yeah, yeah, but
Oh yeah, you did. You sent me two. I think there's two. I think I got two more versions or something. I
uh,
got two emails from you, but like I woke up at 5:30 and went no, and so I turned around and went back to sleep until like 20 minutes to 8. So I just had time to throw some clothes
mm.
on, make some coffee, check the outside. So
Yeah,
no, that's
yeah,
my
yeah.
next thing.
I'm certainly not putting any pressure on you. No, I
No,
did. I did another version of the first story that was
okay,
a lot more involved in character building and stuff. But then
yeah.
I did a couple of stories post, like next generation
Oh, good. That's what
stories.
I was hoping for.
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah,
love that I
yeah.
love that yeah, I love that you're filling it out.
It
I
was
just,
your suggestion, yeah, that I
oh,
took up. Yeah.
yeah. Well, it reminds me
So,
of,
but I didn't send them to you yet. Is that right?
no, I've got one here. Let's see, what do I have here? So, I got, so when the gate learns light. And I got, yeah, and then yeah, I've got two. One, the wall was made out of weather, and there's a town beside the forest. So I've got two stories here that you sent me at
Uh,
241 and 43. So I have to read
okay,
them.
yeah, all right.
Yeah. And yeah, it
So I've
reminds
got
me
it. Yeah, go
to
on.
have, okay. When I was I don't know, pretty young, early teen, I read The Princess Bride. And I mean, I absolutely love that story. I don't know if you know that story. Um, but I had this ratty old copy, and my mother had it bound for me. And I would love to be able to do that, when you get it finished and we're both happy with it, then I would love to get it printed and bound and give it to my son, and then the other family I was telling you about. I mean, I would give it to anybody with kids, really, um, because it's such a perfect. I'm just watching all these young women I know who have children and seeing how that sort of that thread of how to be a man just
Yeah,
run through every little boy, and just the language, toughen up, kick the shit out of them. Just as everything is about
yeah,
competition
yeah.
and violence, and it's the same with no responsibility. It's always a woman was raped. It's never, well, who did it? It's
Mm. It's
there's
always that
no,
perspective, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
so
it's
there
all,
seems to me to be a lot of possibilities, a lot of different themes that could be. See, once upon a time, we educated our kids with fairy stories.
yeah, that's what I read. Yeah,
Yeah. And they all had messages that were pretty unsophisticated now when you look back on them, but we didn't, we were so intrigued by the idea of a wolf, Red Riding Hood or the wolf in grandma's bed, we
yes,
were,
yes, yes, and the little bears and three bears
yeah,
and
all of that
whatever her
stuff.
name
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
Oh,
So it seems to me that some modern fairy stories along these lines that could be, that
absolutely, absolutely.
obviously just you could do a whole one on misogynistic
Yeah,
attitudes,
yeah,
and you could do a other one on how do you cope with all the shit that turns up on the news. That could be one as well.
yeah, yeah. And how do you get your kids back away from their screens and learn where
Yeah,
food comes from?
yeah. Well,
Like,
there's lots of information about that. Your kids are much more likely to read books when they become adults if you read to them when they're kids and
absolutely.
things
And
like
if there
that.
were books in your house, I mean, I see so many, young people's houses. and there's not a book in there. Like
Yeah.
they don't, if they read to their kids, they read it off the screen, and they don't read, like so many people, they don't read. And
Mm.
it's like I'm kind of amazed especially now, because like if I'm going to watch something, I usually, if it's not sports, I go to Canopy, which is the library site, and there's a million free. And I watch documentaries and stuff about people's lives. I watched a documentary about this man in Idaho who's when he was, I mean, his dad kind of left him to his older brothers and, left, fucked off somewhere, and mom died when he was young. So he was kind of alone, and he just rode his horse around and, took care of himself. And he fell in love with bluebirds. And then slowly, as he aged, the bluebird population was dying off because of the introduction of all these new species. And they all use like holes in wood or whatever, but they don't make these cavities to nest in. So the bluebirds had no place to nest. So he built, like, from the time he was 60 till he was in his 90s, he built thousands of little bluebirds' nests and would spend the whole summer driving 5,000 miles around Idaho, checking on these nests, making notes, tagging the birds, taking care of the bait. Like, it was astonishing. I love that kind of stuff. And I mean, that's the kind of stuff I want my grandkids to be reading about or seeing.
Yeah.
That's the movie I want them to see. I don't want them, watching some stupid, cartoons, SpongeBob's, like just, yeah. Even the cartoons we had were so much better because with AI and just the dumbing down of stuff and
Yeah,
the
well, the cartoons are a good classic example of sneaking messages in, you know. Now, the way I understand it, The Simpsons, for example,
yeah, yeah,
confronted a whole lot of topical issues.
yes, and South Park.
And South Park were pretty bluntly, yes.
Yes, yes,
But even SpongeBob, you know,
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
Sesame Street, you know, all of
yeah,
that's all
yeah. I
good
know,
stuff.
I
Hey,
know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing I saw was this great message. I think it was an Australian guy, bloke, who was talking about, he was astonished that in the US they have no child left behind, which means that it doesn't matter how lazy you are, how you don't do any of the work, you don't show up to class, you don't do anything, and you still get advanced because they don't want to leave anybody behind. They don't want anybody to feel bad.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and so they
yeah.
never face the consequences of their shitty behavior. And then, they go to get a job and they get fired. And then, they show up with a gun and shoot everybody, or they're pissy and, beat their wives. It's like nobody faces any consequences when you have a rule of no child left behind. I mean, if you get flunked and you have to repeat a grade, there's some consequences. So they don't, they're, yeah. And I have two friends who are teachers, and they're expected to do so much more than just teach the kids. And, they're basically
Yeah.
raising children who come in
Yeah.
with
It's a bit the same here.
total entitlement. One kid, the second grade came in and she wasn't potty trained. And like she's 8 and the teacher can't leave the class behind to go help her in the bathroom. And because they've cut funding, there's no teacher's aide anymore. So she'd have to take everybody to the washroom every time this happened. And it was,
Yeah. Mm. Crazy
you know,
stuff. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
we
So
can afford a lot of money for military stuff, can't we?
yeah, 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 yeah. And here our premier governor bought himself a private jet because that's rather than put money into the healthcare or, the
Yeah,
education,
yeah. Who knows about that?
he did a
Yeah,
jet.
yeah,
So yeah. Yeah. So stories, I mean, we can't fix the grown-ups, but the children, maybe we
yeah.
can have an influence on. Yeah,
Sure.
well, looks like everybody's leaving because we're talking about stuff they don't want to hear about. But
Yeah, I guess it's not that um,
yes, it's
elucidating for anybody.
yes, it's
Uh,
not. Well, it's not. Maybe it's not just not personal enough or something. I don't know.
yeah.
Who knows? I don't know.
All right. Well, I'll go anyway. So that's a good opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yes, it's your bedtime, I imagine, right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what is it, 11?
11,
Something?
yeah, 10 past 11. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks,
So
Kate.
I
Yeah.
get you all to myself. I get my mom to myself. Excellent.
Yeah.
Couple minutes with mom. Yeah. Yeah, I love the books and I will help in any way. I love editing. I love looking at stuff. It's my favorite thing to do. And I love the pictures that you're putting up. Yeah. Be great if we could get them out there somehow.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, so well, I've been every time I do a story, I put it into Pages. I've got an Apple system, so Pages is like my Microsoft
Yeah,
Word.
I've got Apple too. I've got Apple.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so you know about Pages. So
I do.
um, and then when I've got 50 stories in that, I'll bind it up as a book, make a PDF, like the ones I've been sending you, a PDF or an ebook. Um, the next step. So now I've got one more story to go on book 7, and then I'm into book 8. Right, so that's 7 times 50 stories that I've
That's
got.
amazing, Vince. I love, I mean, I know it's not you, but the amount of work and stuff you pump out into the world is just astonishing to me. I just think,
Yeah. Well, what I was thinking though is it'd be good to publish those books as an ebook,
yeah,
just so they're more available to other people who might get
yeah.
some value. Because as far as I know, there's nothing much like this out there anywhere.
Nothing,
You know?
nothing. No, not what you do. Certainly not the little stories that you do. Um, yeah, and nothing for children at all that points. I mean, I ordered a book that's called, let's see if I can find it. It's The Duck, the Something and Death. And it's a kid's book with the duck and death. So I'll have to look it up because I thought I'd written it down, but I don't see it here. So I'm waiting for that to come. So I'll let you know what that's about. But
Yeah. All right.
um, yeah, I love the idea of getting this stuff out there. And it's
Yeah.
and this story for, I mean, I could just imagine, my son reading it to my granddaughter and then having to go into his study and just sob his heart out because he can't cry in front of, I mean, he's cried a little bit, but it's hard for him
Yeah. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do that, and he smokes a lot of pot to sort of keep it all. He
Yeah.
recommended, he's like, you're a tough old bitch, just smoke some pot and you'll be fine.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
We had a good laugh about that, but yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's
Yeah. So if it's feasible, to do this, once we can work out how to do this, publish it on Amazon.
mhm.
Somebody showed me, was it you? Somebody showed me a ebook creator, no, a Kindle creator or something
Yeah.
that Amazon provided. Yeah, I haven't looked at that yet. I need to look at that.
And I mean, Todd self-published his his book of poetry. I don't know if you've
Right.
seen it. Like it's an amazing book, but it's I mean, poetry, there's very few people that, poetry is like the least popular form of published works, really, for most
Mm.
people. Most people are like, oh, I don't understand that. Um, and I don't know, but it cost him a pretty penny to get the printing out. But to do it as an ebook, I mean, it's just, you just
Yeah,
down.
yeah. No, so I wasn't thinking to print a hard copy at all. Although
No.
once you've got an ebook at Amazon, apparently you can request a hard copy and they'll organize the printing of it and so
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know, about that, but yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah.
so just well, if on any of the links that I send out, there should be a link for the books. I'll send you the links to all of the books and that, and you can have a look at them and just
Okay.
see the only one of them has had a forward written for it. The others haven't, and I thought, oh well, I'll just put the same forward in all of them, and then see. But the way the pictures are, the way it. Have you got a you have you got a Kindle reader
Yeah,
on your
yeah. Well, I don't have a
computer?
Kindle reader, but I have Kindle, and I can read it on my phone, or I can read it on my computer. I read a lot of
Yes.
books on my phone because
Yeah.
when
So
I'm traveling, I'm not going to carry a book.
if I send
Yeah.
you the ebook, you should be able to click on it and
Oh,
it'll
yeah.
open up your Kindle thing. Yeah, and
Yeah,
you can
yeah, for
see what
sure.
they look like. And so what the way I've set it out, the font I've used, um the pictures that are in it, all of that kind of stuff could be looked at critically as well.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh,
maybe there.
I would love to do that.
Yeah. Well, let's make a
Yes.
move on that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Send me stuff. Yeah. Because Todd, I'm kind of Todd sent me all 16 chapters of his latest book, which is really like How to Be Awake, which I always find it funny when people write books about that. But it's Todd, and I love him, and it's well written and it's funny. He's got a great sense of humor, and it's pretty clear so far. But he's not going to publish. He said, he's not going to be able to even look at it till mid of next year at the earliest.
Mm.
And he's thinking maybe mid 2028 he'll start looking at getting it published somewhere. So I've got lots of time because I'm halfway through his book already. So
Mm.
it doesn't take very long. And all I'm doing
Yeah.
is just going through and checking on grammar and pronunciation, punctuation, silly things like that. Because I was raised by a strict English teacher and my father wrote books. So, you learn that.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So the book is called Duck, the Duck, Death, and the Tulip. And it has the best cover. So I ordered it because it's like I gotta see what they're talking about. I've got to see what they're talking about.
Yeah, well, that's another thing too, and that is the relevance of the pictures and what they suggest about things and so on.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I just get an original AI production of the
Exactly,
pictures.
exactly, exactly. I
Yeah,
mean, I've often thought, wouldn't it be great to get an illustrator, but they want money.
yeah, yeah.
And I can't, I mean, I'm not an artist. I don't draw. Like,
Mm.
I can draw a stick figure, but I don't have the skill
Yeah,
to
well, but I can get AI to do like play
exactly,
around with it and get it to produce different things, and that if I say
exactly.
do it again, but do it this way, or do it again and make it more this or
I
less
know. And
this,
I
or
love that you've got an alto voice. The song you put out today has a deeper voice, female voice. I love that you're using that alto voice because I can't sing that soprano stuff. I mean, you hear my voice. I have a deep voice. So
mm.
yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. And I there's a my algorithm on my Instagram has totally changed. Although now I think I have to get off Instagram because they're doing all kinds of stuff. Zuckerberg is making it more and more stupid. Um, like you can't choose, like I don't know, he's changing all the settings so that they can get further into your private stuff. But there's a group that I found of women and they want to talk about stuff that people don't talk about. So they said, what do you want to talk about? So I said, I want to talk about death and dying. And so I wrote a little piece about what I want to do. I haven't heard from anybody yet. It may come to nothing, but you know, we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see
yeah, good one.
what happens. Yeah. So lots of stuff happening. Oh, look at that. Here's somebody showing up.
Mm,
There you go. There you go.
yeah,
So yeah, send me the stuff. Absolutely.
I will.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Now I'll never get the vacuuming done. Yeah.
I did once look at what it would take to publish a book at Amazon, but I've forgotten about it now. It was a while ago, so I don't remember but I vaguely remember that it was not going to be too difficult, but it was going to be a bit of a pain.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And I don't
then,
think I don't know how much money you make out of it. It's kind of like,
well, I'm
Spotify.
not concerned about the money, like I wasn't, I did think I'd put a price on them, but it'll be a minimum price like 99 cents or something like that.
Right, right,
Like
right.
here's the thing, I'm blown away by this. There have been some people that have written a game that's a really simple game, and they've made millions of dollars out of it and selling it for a few cents each time, kind of thing, because there is so many people in the world,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. You're not talking
So
about the transformation game, are you?
no, no, it was the one I was thinking of was Angry Birds.
Oh, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. I used to play Angry
Really
Birds.
simple, really addictive, and they made a lot of money out of it.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
even
yeah,
though
yeah.
they sold it cheaply, yeah. So I
Yeah,
figure, if I sold a book for 99 cents and I get 30 cents out of it or something like that,
yeah,
right? It might work out to something. But how about this? I got an email a couple of days ago from SoundCloud showing my monthly stats. And would you believe that my songs have had 14,000 plays in the last month?
yeah. I do.
14,000.
I totally
I
believe
couldn't
it. I
get over
totally,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was riding with my friend yesterday who, he drives a Tesla and was raised with so much money, it's, like ridiculous. And I said, "Oh, these are some of the songs that my friend Vince wrote for this death group that I wanted to do." And he was like, "Well, that's an odd tune." Because it was, everybody's invited, even death, and it's so cheerful. And he was just shocked that was our approach. And I just thought it was so funny. And then he's like, "Let me hear that again." And it was like, there it is, because it's not at all what people are expecting. And it's just, yeah, yeah, I love that you're getting that many hits. And I
Mm,
know that, what this does. I mean, that was, I find it just so funny that that was the thing I was yelling at you about. And here we are now. And,
mm,
I every morning I listen to your song and I download it and I add it to my playlist. And you are with me all day long. Because when I'm working, when I'm walking, that's what I'm listening to. Because it keeps
mm,
me remembering, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Best. Just the best.
mm.
All right. Well, this is exciting. New project.
Good one.
Good.
How have you been, Pam?
Oh,
I can't hear you. You're muted again. That's better. Yeah.
yeah, I that's kind of interesting, isn't it? Taking me that much time just to unmute. Yeah, I've I've been just, you know, doing this thing. I'm glad y'all were talking about the music. As a matter of fact, um, yeah, I haven't gotten to the point where I log what time these meetings are for me or anything like that. So I just got up and just happened to realize, oh, well, it might be going on now. And I click, it's one of those things. So I was really glad y'all were here, thinking I could just pop in and listen, because I do, um, have some really nice experiences. Yeah, and I listen to your music and read the stories every day. They are a daily part. When you mentioned that about 14,000 plays, I think probably I was maybe 1,000 of those this past, uh,
Thank you
just
then.
in just in the past month, because yeah, it's just kind of consistently, I'll say that I play them, even in the car, just, because it does help me to stay and remember them. It's a little tricky because, there was a neighbor of mine and was in the car with me, and she was saying something about some topic which I don't even remember. And I said, "Oh, that sounds exactly like this song that I just heard." And I played it for her, and she kind of listened and perked up, and she, in the first couple of lines, whatever it was, and I don't, this is just days ago, but I don't remember which song it was. And she perked up and said, "Oh, that's exactly right." What I've, just kind of realizing that some of the things applied to her, and she thinks what I talk about sometimes, or what my are a little bit sad, a little bit uh, dissociative, I think is what she calls them. And she doesn't understand how it brings me peace. Not that we've had in-depth talks, but, but just to listen to that and hear some familiarities about what she's feeling inside coming out through a song. And she did say to me, she said, "Yeah, I don't get most of what you're talking about, but you can send me a copy of that song."
Oh, yeah,
And
good one. Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting. So, it does actually get through to
Yeah.
some people. So, yeah, but then I try to leave them on sometimes other. I'm getting a little bit bolder about, even if someone like comes over to my house and I have a YouTube on or something that I'm listening to, and people are talking like this, which I think is pretty amazing. But and it's just very common. I think people have it made up in their mind it's going to be something so totally different. And but sometimes some people get a little uncomfortable and won't, just maybe will ask me if they can watch a movie on my TV or something instead of what I'm playing, whatever. But I've had, the last meeting we were in was really insightful for me. So I've had even more um, experiences. I think we were talking a lot of, which was so beautiful. There were um, two women who were having some really challenging times, and the whole meeting group just was very supportive of both of them. And I really was just so blown away that I couldn't even think to join or say anything. But it was amazing to me how, just from being a part of that meeting, that for the next 48 hours or so, um, it was affecting me and being one of the same things that I didn't even realize I was experiencing until I heard them. I can tell that it's just below my right here, just to want to be emotional about it, because yeah, it's yeah, very simple and just very harsh. So
Mm.
in that meeting, it was amazing to me that they were both able to be that honest, and the other people there were so supportive, and that it would be in impact on so many people. And I didn't even realize that, like I said, that it was personal for me, that it could be, and until it was. And so then for 48 hours after that, I've experienced quite a few, a little, I would say, triggers or realizations, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. For some reason, in the past week, the dream state has been extremely forthcoming, giving me some beautiful experiences, and realizing that also, since this, knowing now what's really going on, who I am, and since the there's no longer a seeker there, it is interesting, um, and it is a little bit. It's very new, so it's the habit still trying to kick in a little bit. To go to those, just to be with it and
Sure.
realize, okay,
Yeah.
this is just what it is, and if it weren't for these type meetings where I can just sort of touch reality, because I think, and this is something that I realized recently, is that in my, as best I can put it into a frame, this has been going on for my entire life, for
Sure.
decades.
Yeah.
I just never had the framework to support me with it. So I was always way off into some other problem, like these both of these ladies were on the last meeting, and just suffering and feeling so different and ostracized and so out of control. And it's amazing to me how the knowledge of how many people are actually there and just don't even realize. A lot of them, I guess I've come to realize too, that a lot of people are possibly awake already and just don't know
Mm-hmm.
that they are and what's happening and why they're, and that was absolutely true for me. um and just not have a clue why so many things were so different, and how they could be so painful, and then trying so desperately to figure out any solutions or comfort or support. um and yeah, so even though it's a very cool experience, I'm so I'm so glad and grateful that I have found resources for support, because otherwise, even when you're in the worst of places, yeah, well, when I say that worst of places, pretty dark, and to know that it's just exactly what it's supposed to be, and that it's just any thoughts you have about it or any personal stories that you bring into play, and uh, and that there was one person on that meeting that had, I guess he was new to you and had not been there before, but he was talking to you about the dyads. Do you
Yep.
remember? Yeah.
Yep.
And you know, I recognized him from being in, because I'm pretty sure I was in the same retreats with him through Daniel Schmidt, and I'm I don't know if I actually did a dyad with him or not, but he was explaining to you about the dyads and how, and people will love them, and they're um people, some people will go to the retreats for those only, just the dyads only, and
Right.
there and he but the thing is, for me, I had a little bit different experience in that I was very uncomfortable with them, and it was a part of the retreat. So you didn't, of course, have to join them, but I would force myself to do that, and it was very. I think the first time I ever did them was the first time I was on like a Zoom call like this with someone else, and you would do like just two people one on one, and you're facing each other, and the whole point is you're supposed to look each other directly in the eye, and one is just listening and the other one is doing the talking. But just making that eye contact on the very first day of dyads was so difficult. That was the most difficult thing to do, is just look another human being eye to eye and just sit there in complete quiet. And then when it came to the point where you had to speak, well, like when they say, well, tell me who you are, and you spoke, then I couldn't even speak for crying, and I didn't
Mm.
even know what to say. So I do think there's a lot of value to it. And I know a lot of people get so much from it. And I'm constantly being sent things about the dyads that I could join, but for some reason, it's just not as comfortable for me, although it was extremely helpful. So, but I
Mm.
thought that was really interesting because I'd been on some of the same things he was talking about. I think his name is Jay. But yet I also noticed in that meeting with us, he was so different. And so he was so open and actually so, my goodness, generous and helpful, and humble at the same time about it. And I think, and I could tell that, because it's a totally different type of thing. It is a kind of a closeness like the dyads, but a little bit different. So I was really glad to see that. It's kind of, yeah. I didn't really think I
Mm.
had anything to say, but I guess I did. So good morning.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. Yeah, yeah, good. Yeah, it's really good to hear that you can you can be affected just watching, just listening to somebody else's story, and you can relate to that. That's so helpful. So even though like tonight's meeting is one that will get put on YouTube, right? And I think to myself, well, there was a time when me and Kate were just shooting the breeze about nothing in particular kind of thing, and that won't be of interest to anybody. But I'll see the stats on YouTube, and it'll be 170 people will have watched the video. You think, wow, people must be getting something out of it to watch that. Yeah. I mean, I don't watch any YouTube videos much these days. I couldn't be bothered.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, I think a lot of me is I'm still open to a new normal, trying to
Yeah,
find a new
absolutely. Yeah.
normal. And so I don't, um, it's like I don't just open. So I don't even know, well, do I want to watch something or do I not? Or do I
Yeah.
want to listen? And even, I think it was like 3 in the morning. Well, just a few hours ago for me, but where I was listening to the one that just came out about whole meditation practice, being enough, basically. And and finding that there was a lot of truth in that for me as well. So I can see how far this has come. But and then the place of being at a new normal, that's really interesting because, and I'm kind of questioning whether or not that's where a lot of people are sometimes when they start getting freaked out that they've lost it again,
Yeah,
or
absolutely. Yeah, I
or
would
that
agree.
I
Yeah.
I thought I had it, but I realized that I don't, or that sort of thing. And I think you asked me something about when I was talking last time about compassion, and I was kind of curious about myself, actually, this whole thing about how would I show compassion, or what would it, and I'm noticing that does come up for me because I guess, yeah, there's this is it's a rocky time even after, which is the thing people don't understand. I get that. They think that, and that once they get it, they're going to be a different person. All of a sudden,
Mhm.
this, who they thought they were is gone, and there's this perfect person here that's so well adjusted, and it's just, I think there's a lot of misunderstanding. So,
Oh, absolutely. That is one of the biggest ones, people's idea of what it should be like
yeah.
gets
And
in the
even though
road.
yeah, it's talked about so much around people, but yet there's still that, a person might say, well, I'll bring my expectations down a little bit. I just won't be quite, I mean, I'm not expecting this or that, but to actually realize, just to look in the mirror and go, sorry, sister, but you ain't going to change.
Yeah.
This is who you are. So,
Mm.
you know, um, it's, Is that what that whole, because I hear you talk about Liberation Unleashed a lot. Is that what that is all about? Just that's what the liberation is in that
Um,
program?
well, that's a online forum, and they particularly focus on the no self as a way into this. But once they once they feel that somebody has got it, they're kind of left on their own. And that was the
Yeah,
reason why I started these groups in the first place, to give people somewhere to hang out and talk about this kind of stuff and so on. And I felt that that's a really important thing, because if they're, even if they get it, if it, that new normal hasn't established yet, and so it's really easy to go back to sleep, so to speak.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was so I'm guiding one person on Liberation Unleashed at the moment. Anyway, and a paragraph they sent me as a response to something, I counted 13 personal pronouns in that 4 lines of stuff. And you think that's got to be conditioning, to keep on using personal pronouns and believing in them. I mean, I use them all the time, but they're hollow for me. I don't put it, like I know as soon, I don't even have to look to know that there's no I, yet I still say I all the time. But see, when somebody's seeking, they believe every time they say I that there is an I. And it gets really reinforced when you think about it. Wow, in 4 lines, there was 13 I, me, and there was one your, which is the same thing. But yeah, but most of them were I this, I that, I. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just recognizing that every time we say it, we tweak a story that says it's real.
I actually experienced that very thing, and then kind of realizing, oh, did you just, did that just kind of go off into a story? And is that it's like I can see how easy that is, and I think that does answer a question then to me that I had about the Liberation Unleashed, because some of the programs are different in how they go about and exactly what they're talking about too. But I do feel that very strongly right now, that if there weren't a place like this, I'd be very concerned about this
Mm,
because um like so many people that I've heard, they're in groups of people or crowds of people or areas where there is no one that understands what we're talking about or what we're saying or what some of the nuances are about it, for um, and I just, in my particular situation, I realize it's just my story. So it's in the fact that I have 4 grown children who I don't really have good relationships with, but that was my prime motive in life, was trying to be the best mother and have the best family and the best, and everything. And so it's like interesting to take a look at that whole thing about it's just life happening. It's not people doing things to one another or for one another or whatever. And no one is to blame. No one's at
mm,
fault. And it's not, and so it's interesting to see all of those. And then also interesting learning um, how impersonal those relationships can become
Mm.
um, when you see it from this perspective. It's almost a little bit shocking because you do sort of realize, I mean, you see it from a different perspective and think, oh, I'm not so sure I really want to spend time with that person,
Mm. Mm.
which is my
Mm.
child, and in trying to look at things a little bit differently, but then also trying to back off of that whole role, because that was probably one of the biggest identities for me, was as a mother. So
Mm.
still having all that where you feel like, and having those. But I will say, in two beautiful dream unfoldings, I it was actually sorry, I know I'm quoting you back to yourself a lot, Vince, but in one of the
That's
conversations I was having with you and some other gentlemen, you made a comment, which something about how, and I won't say it exactly what you said it, because you were much more comfortable saying it than I would be. But basically, it's about how, I guess, our the consciousness of people is actually merging in some faraway place or whatever, in the consciousness itself, when they can have such a wonderful connected experiences with one another. And I found that last night, it was or in a dream state, it was one of the most beautiful experiences, because there's one daughter that I haven't seen in 15 years, or maybe even more. And um, it was actually, I could feel the compassion and the love for her, and it's basically triggered by that song, Enough, oddly enough. um, and also by some of the things that we went through in the last meeting with some of the ladies there, and about things that happen as children or childhood that can carry with you your whole life and have an effect. But the approach to these from through this perspective is so much different than therapy or some of the other things. But in this particular dream, I could say to my daughter, and like she was the youngest child, I could actually see her and feel her, and it's like we were there, and I was telling her how much I loved her, also how much I loved myself, the compassion for myself, as having been a child, gone through the same things that I think she was experiencing and going through, and telling her, and it's almost like she whispered back to me and said, I didn't feel it at the time, though. I didn't feel like, and I said, yeah, I understand. I completely know what you're talking about. It was a beautiful experience, and we could actually say to each other that that there was love and compassion there, in a fake imaginary type of
yeah,
encounter.
yeah, but still good stuff. Yeah, yeah.
It's very good stuff, absolutely beautiful stuff. Um, so there's that stuff going on all the time. That's the reason I think that was brilliant, on a brilliant afterthought, I guess, if you want to say, for you to like think of these meetings, these group meetings where people can come and be with others. Because speaking from personal experience right now, if I didn't have this, I'm a little there's a concern for
Yeah, look, I
what,
get that. I get that. Yeah, it's easy to see how people can feel lonely, even though they know a lot of people. They
yeah.
they don't imagine that anybody understands them or knows them. So consequently, they can feel lonely no matter how many people are around. So,
And one other thing that's really interesting too is, because I had one of the realizations that I had is how much I want to be right. And and then actually thinking that that was probably one of the contributors to me having some really bad experiences with people, because to me I just always wanted to be right. But listening to and then of course you sent the story out in the song about that, and I can't remember what the name of those were, just a couple of days ago, about the things that can happen in childhood, and how they can uh, play out the rest of lives. And that one about you know um, the child in the picture putting too many birds, and then learning to start doubting her own. And so I thought about that for the entire day, thinking about that story and the song around it, and understanding that there were so many times that I knew that I had a feeling, and one of the times that kind of sticks out for me, very young, probably about 9 or 10 years old, was having a beautiful, wonderful time with a big family reunion, and um, we had crab apples there. And one of my little cousins, like I said, I was probably 8 or 9 years old, and one of my little cousins was a couple years younger than me, and she was calling them crab apples. And for some reason, it we thought that was funny, and we were all laughing about it, just having the best time laughing with each other and playing. And my parents, one of them in particular, of course, they were very strong disciplinarians, did not agree with that. And so I was kind of singled out as the one to experience such embarrassment and humiliation, and also being ostracized, separated from the rest of the family because, and it was all over something so similar. I mean, so simple as like crab apples instead of crab apples. It's not like anything horrible was being,
Mm.
but the thing is, and then the memory of me being alone in, because I was separated, put in a room by myself, and I could watch through the window the rest of the big family all out there having a great time and fun and laughter, and I wasn't included. So you can only imagine. I can only imagine that was this just all came from reading that story and listening to those women. So yes, that's I can only imagine how that's one of the reasons that I um, stopped having fun and laughing. That it wasn't
Yeah,
okay to laugh and have
for
fun
sure. Yeah.
and
Yep.
be part of, and so and that's one of the things that has been a descriptive trait for me, for myself and for many people others, to say I was too intense, just way too
Mm.
intense. But there's so many reasons why, just like that. You're constantly on guard or paying attention or watching
Yep.
for
Yeah.
danger, danger. And that's very simple things, but they can come back and yeah. And so even being a part of these groups and listening, that's the reason I'm not doing it now. So, but that's the reason I really enjoy listening. I don't like just putting my picture up there because I want people to know that I'm there for them.
Mm.
But I like just listening because I think that's very important for people to have other people listening and say, and then, well, yes, they may get something out of it, like I did get a lot out of it, but also just the fact that you're not wrong. Because, see, I was made to feel that was wrong if I'm laughing and having a good
Mm.
time because
Mm.
a little kid said crap apples. but but I but it's also kind of sad when you think how much of the entire lifetime that I've had since I'm quite mature now of not laughing and not being comfortable laughing
Mm.
and suppressing. Not only I mean it was equally in my family, we were equally had to suppress any kind of um, uh, unhappiness, or if you weren't pleased with something or didn't, you couldn't express either one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so then here we are, all these years later, and I completely understand it. But no, still, that would be something that wouldn't be as free to be. So in this, um, just kind of taking those little baby steps to start thinking, okay, I'm not wrong, because it's something, and that's the thing that I realized. I think things that I thought were right or wrong were always so different than what other people thought were right or wrong.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I was always told that I was wrong, and I
Yep.
believed
Yep.
it.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
How 99% of us can grow up feeling that we're broken, that there's something wrong with us.
yes, yes.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yep. All right, I gotta go. Love you.
Thank you,
Thank
Kate.
you.
Yeah.
We'll be in touch.
Okay.
Excited. Thank you, Pam. Yeah, I feel you. I hear
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, always good to listen to, Pam. That was wonderful. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank y'all.
Good night,
Okay.
Mitch. Sleep well.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go off to bed now too. It's just almost midnight. Yeah.
Oh, How long have y'all been on this meeting now?
For 2 hours now.
Yeah. Well, thank you for still being there when I woke up and decided to check.
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad you do that. That's good. Yeah.
And now, yes, thank you. I'm very grateful of that and I appreciate that. Have a wonderful
Yeah.
evening.
Okay. Bye bye.